Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Vanity Ezel back in another Thera song overviews because Joy don't like, subscribe and we'll start, shall we? This time we are covering my personal favorite song from Thera so far, and that would be Renew for Sauron. Sauron is hands down my favorite nation, maybe not for this song in terms of theming wise. There is another song from Sauron that I like the most in terms of theming, but you guys won't see that for a while. But as for gimmick wise and what I'm actually good with, this is definitely my favorite. I definitely don't have bias towards this song at all. No, definitely not. Maybe because it was not my first song, but my second song that I've played for Thera for such a long time, and definitely not because the character who's in the anime, Hayate Yutaka, definitely isn't my waifu or my queen or anything like that. No, that honor belongs to Shuka. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this started, and you can see why I like the song. So, first up we have our ace card, which is unique to Sauron. I say this for a very specific reason, but we're about to find out, and that would be Traveling Necromancer. So Traveling Necromancer is a level 1 with 50 power and 1 damage as per usual. He has a shield, and by paying 3 you can renew 3. Now renew is explained as choose a creature whose level is equal to or less than from your to renew value from your drop zone and special summon it. So that does not mean you get to special summon any number of creatures up to the new value, like for example in this case renew 3. That does not mean you special summon 3 creatures, but that means you special summon 1 creature that is level 3 or lower. Now the highest level in this game is level 3, so that basically means you get to summon anything that has entered your drop zone at any point. So let's just cross nations, for example, even though that's not a thing you have to worry about because that's not a thing in this game. You had Crimson Dragon Revan in your drop zone. Then that means if you buy paying 3, you can call Crimson Dragon Revan from your drop zone just to do that. So that's all around really good. He can summon any creature that's entered your drop zone regardless of its level, so that's nice. Obviously it's a good skill. The reason why it's a unique boss monster though is because it's the only one that's level 1. You see, the thing about Sauron is out of all the cards that have bosses, Sauron's the only one that has had a level 1 as a boss. Which is weird. It's still a good boss, I'm just saying, it's weird. So, it's good. The downside is, he has a lot weaker power compared to the other bosses, so in a fist fight to the death, Traveling Necromancer will obviously lose, but the combos that he can get off with the rest of the Sauron cards is pretty impressive, so don't just dismay him because he's a level 1 with weak stats, but give him a chance because he can definitely lead to combos, so 4 of Necromancer. Our next card is Childlike Wraith. Still don't know how to say it. So he's a level 1 with 1 damage and 50 power, just like Traveling Necromancer and the shield icon of course, and when he enters the field, by any means, if he was special summoned, give it plus 50 power to end of turn. So obviously don't normal summon him, otherwise his ability won't go off, but if you special summon him via like skills of Traveling Necromancer or other cards we will get to later, he's just a 100 power base. So 100 power is nothing really to be special about, considering the fact, normal level 1s have 100 power anyways, but the thing about Childlike Wrath is technically he has the ability to get the most power out of all of this song, and what I mean by that is there's a certain card in this song where basically it makes all your low-powered creatures somehow stronger than the highest-powered creature in this game. And if you don't believe me, just wait and you'll see it in this song. So all-around Childlike Wrath is really good, especially in tandem with that card I'm referring to, but even then just being able to ram into a level 1 on even power, especially in a Sauron song, is a feat that, while yes to normal people would be like, okay, that's not really impressive, is impressive to Sauron themselves. So all-around Childlike Wrath is a nice level 1, and it's a good 4 for that reason. And then we have our Safeguard and Necromancer Rayless. So Necromancer Rayless is a level 1 with 50 power, 1 damage. As per usual, he's our Safeguard. By discarding him from your hand, you can stop 1 attack of an opposing creature. You can only run 4 Safeguards in your song. Now, my thing with Rayless is this. This is the song where your Safeguard does more of an aggressive play than a defensive play, and the character Hayate Yutaka definitely agrees with me on this, because how Hayate Yutaka uses Necromancer Rayless is she'll either discard it for skills of other cards, or she'll end up summoning it to the field to initiate combo play. And that's exactly what I do with Rayless. Frankly, I think it's rare that I actually use Rayless as an actual Safeguard. I think I've used it a total of 5 times in that method, and then every other time I've used it as a creature to summon or a creature to proc off skills. So Aron Rayless is just a good card. Your opponent will never expect you to drop a Safeguard, and then when you drop it, they're like, oh my god, why would you drop your ultimate defense card? And then you're like, you'll see, and then they don't expect the next plays come in, and they're like, oh, so that's why you dropped your Safeguard. Well, I'm gonna need a Safeguard to survive this turn. So Aron Rayless is a good card, while inherently he doesn't really do much for the song, despite being a big defender, which is good in the song of an all-out attack. It's still a good card to love combos, so full of Rayless. Then we have Lonely Spectre. our next card, and he's a level 2 with 100 power, 1 damage. Yeah, like I said, Sauron's like the bottom of the barrel for power because, base power is a level 2. They're normally 150 unless they have a really good ability. Lonely Spectre's a 100 power, he's a level 2. So anyways, Lonely Spectre, when it enters the field from your hand, destroy it unless you have another creature on your field. Okay, so never summon this thing first from your hand. Never let this be the first thing you summon. It will die within 5 seconds of hitting the board. But good news is if you special summon him through an ability, even if he's the only creature on your field when you special summon him, at least he will not be destroyed by that. So that's still a good ability. And then when he's special summoned by any means from anywhere, you can draw a card. So that's nice. He allows you to refill your hand, and Sauron, which you're about to see, is definitely, or at least this trial song, is definitely a song where you go through a lot of your hand cards very quickly. So the fact that you can refill them for free just by special summoning this guy is really nice, and especially in later parts of Sauron where you have a lot of abilities to special summon creatures, you can always afford to use one of your special summons on Lonely Spectre and then use them on your other cards that make you go through your hand cards very quickly. Sauron Lonely Spectre is a nice card, helps refill your hand, and he's at least a nice level play to play, or a level 2 to play early, and always a good card to have in your drop zones of 4 of. Now on to the creatures that I said that make you discard your hand cards, and that is Clustered Phantoms being the first one. So he's also level 2 with the gift icon as well, 1 damage, 150 power, and when he's special summoned from anywhere as well, you and your opponent both discard 1. So this is where the discarding comes in. This is the song where, like I said, you want to go out for the all-out attack. But obviously you don't want to go on the all-out attack without getting rid of your opponent's hand, because otherwise you're kind of just wasting all your very precious defensive cards that can normally not hit into something on the attack that won't work. So Clustered Phantoms is really nice because he can make your opponent lose hand cards, and technically, yeah, you would say that's a matter for you too, because you're also losing hand cards. Not if you play the song right. If you play it right, you will have 1 or 2 hand cards when you end up summoning this thing from your drop zone, and that will matter to you because you've already have accomplished your full board, all your things are within hitting numbers, and now you're just making your opponent lose a hand card so that they can't defend easier, and while yes, you're losing a hand card too, it's going to hurt your opponent more, it's going to help you. So Sauron Cluster Phantom is really nice because he not only fills up your drop zone for cards that you maybe need for your skills such as Renew to call stuff from your drop zone for free, like for example, you just want to discard level 3 so you don't have to waste time summoning the level 3, but also just the fact that he screws over your opponent by making them lose guarding power. So all around, nice card. I believe it's a 4 of. Then we have Vicious Wrath. You see, Necromancer was not the only one with Renew. So Vicious Wrath, or Wraith, is a level 2 with the gift icon, 100 power, 1 damage, he's our last creature, and when he enters the field via special summon or normal summon from anywhere, both you and your opponent discard 1. So same thing as Clustered Phantoms, except he's a lot easier to pull off because he just has to enter the field, but the fact that he can make both you and your opponent discard 1 is really nice. I think he's the level 2 I like playing the most in the early game just because he's a free skill. You summon him, both players are losing a hand card. You may be losing guarding power as well, but at least you're going to special summon that guarding power back either this turn or the next turn. They're losing guarding power, and unless they're playing a mirror match, they're not getting that card back. So that's already really good. And then he has Renew, which is just discard a card from your hand, renew 1. So basically choose a level 1 from your drop zone and call it to the board. So pretty good because you can just discard level 1 from your hand if you don't have a level 1 in drop and get that level 1 back, or you can just get level 1s you've already used back. Like worst case scenario, you probably used a safeguard at this point, so you can get the safeguard back from his skill. And not to mention the fact that through certain combo plays, you can basically get to the point where you have 0 hand cards and your opponent has to discard cards. I don't remember from the game with Hayate versus Kyoshi, which hasn't gone up yet, but I hope it will go up soon. We're in the middle of editing it right now. But basically, I had 2 hand cards and one of them was a safeguard, and through a tricky combo play, I went from nothing on my board to almost a full field, and I would have had a full field if I remembered I could have used a Vicious Wrath's ability that turn because I thought I had used it, and I didn't. And I had 1 hand card. I don't know why I didn't use it. I think my mind just was like too into the moment of I went from 0 to 4 in 1 move. So yeah, Vicious Wrath all around is a really good card. He helps lead out combos. Just do not forget to use his effect, but he also gets rid of your opponent's hand cards. So all around, he's a nice card, 4 of. Then we move on to our first and only spell. So the spells and traps are both at 1s of each. I mean, they both are 4 of in total, but there's only 1 spell and trap. So Ferocious Winds. Mill the top 2 cards of your song and then draw 2. So send the top 2 cards of your drop zone, you get a free plus. That's good because not only does it send cards to your drop zone for it, so you can get fodder for your new abilities of like Traveling Necromancer and Vicious Wrath, but it also allows you to draw 2 cards, and that draw 2 always helps you, and Ferocious Winds are not just once per turn. So if you knew what I did in one game, where you draw Ferocious Winds, play that Ferocious Winds, mill 2, draw 2, one of them is a Ferocious Wind, you play the other one, you mill 2, you draw 2 again, look at that, another Ferocious Wind, you play that, you mill 2, you draw 2 again, oh, you didn't see another Ferocious Winds, you essentially just got 6 free drop zone cards, and technically you drew a total of 3 cards. I mean, you drew a total of 6, but one of them is always a Ferocious Winds, and you have to deduct the Ferocious Winds from the minusing. So technically you only drew 3 cards, but that 3 cards is still enough to make a difference. Aron Ferocious Winds is definitely a really good spell with this deck, and is one of my favorite spells in Sauron in general, and I pretty much run it in all of my Sauron songs just because of that ability alone. So 4 Ferocious Winds. Then we have Unforgiving Winds. Now, this card is very tricky for combo plays. So, Unforgiving Winds, by paying 2, you return an attacking creature to the top of its owner's song. Now, for all of you people that are not big-brained, not insulting anyone who isn't big-brained, you may be thinking, okay, pretty good, because it sends an opponent's attacking creature back to the top of their song. And yeah, that's true. That's really helpful in a song where, like I said before, you have a bunch of low power, because a lot of your creatures are at most 150 power, because, yes, like I said before, Cluster Phantoms is the strongest creature in your song, so, you know, when you're being outdone by literally every other boss monster in the trial songs, you're going to need something to send them back to top. Even if they get a gift check, the gift check will happen after you send them back to top, so they're just getting the card back to their hand. But it's still good because it can send something to the top of the song and nullify an attack. But it also can send your own creature to the top of your song, because it just says return an attacking creature to the top of its owner's song. Meaning if you wanted to, if you could pay 2, you could swing with your creature and then bounce it back to the top of your song. Why would you do that? Maybe because you've summoned a Necromancer Rayless due to non-offensive play, and you know you can't kill them this turn, so instead of trying to destroy their creature, you choose to return the Necromancer Rayless to your hand instead, especially if you know you have a gift check coming that turn to make sure you have a PG to nullify attacks with. And you can just do it for other skills, like say for example you have a card on your board that you don't want to lose, so you put it back to top instead of losing it, or maybe you just have a card that would be better served in the damage zone for whatever reason, so that's where Unforgiving Winds comes from. So all around, it's a really good card to have. It is simply a nice plus. It can nullify an attack, or if you play it right, you can use it to unleash some very tricky combo plays, like next level big brain moves, and all around Unforgiving Winds is just a good card for that reason alone, so you run out of 4 of. Then we move on to our runes. So unlike every other trial song, there's actually 2 runes for this song. The first one, and the better one in my opinion, being Spirit's Blessing. Now remember earlier when I said, yes, Sauron is basically the weakest out of all of the songs in terms of base power, but has the ability to somehow be stronger than every other ace creature in the game? Yeah, this is why. So Spirit's Blessing, it's a pay 1 to place. Okay, if I remember correctly, this is the only rune that actually has a pay 1 to place cost, or any pay to place cost. But here's its ability that makes it really good. Each time you special summon, all your creatures get plus 50 power for the turn. So that does work during your opponent's turn as well. Good, because it adds for a lot of power to them. But this works wonders on your turn. Remember earlier when I said I had 0 creatures and I went to 4 creatures in that turn, I could have gotten 5? All of my creatures got plus 200 from this. If you just have one of these, each time you special summon, they're all getting 50 power. That means the creature I had on the 2 creatures I had at the start, the one that wasn't special summon, the one that was a special summon, they both got 100 from the first summon. Then I summoned again, everyone got another plus 50, so the first 2 had 150 each, the other one had plus 50. Then I summoned again, giving that one plus 50, giving the one before that plus 100, and giving the first 2 both a total of plus 200, which is amazing. And then there was a game where I had 2 of these on my board. 2 of them. And I special summoned a total of 5 times that turn. Guess how many, and all my creatures special summoned at the same time for. This was during something else, not during the trial song. So imagine how much power I got. 2 times 5, sorry, 50 times 5 is a total of 250. Now times that by 2. That's a total of 500 power to my entire board. Yeah. Spirit's Blessing single-handedly carries the song. If there is ever a moment in a game where you are struggling in the power matchup, just wait till you get this card and your opponent will be on the back foot in 5 seconds. This thing takes like the power that this song has of special summoning to a whole new extent. They may be weak as hell on their own, but Spirit's Blessing fixes that in a grand way and breaks it. So 4 of Spirit's Blessing. Not only does it have a really nice art in my opinion, but it just makes the song able to compete with any high heavy hitters. So 4 of. Then we have our last rune and our last card in the deck that isn't a trigger, and that is Rite of Awakening. So by paying 2, you renew X. It has no one-place cost, by the way. So renew X, and X is where the number of summons you've performed this turn. So again, you do not special summon every creature equal to that number, but instead you summon the number itself. So say, for example, you have summoned a total of 3 times this turn. It does not mean you summon 3 creatures, but that means you summon a level 3 or lower from your drop zone. So all around, that's really good. You just get a freebie card from your drop zone, and that's nice. I like that ability a lot. It allows you to refresh some of your skills. And in that match I was referring to, it was actually due to Renew X and the combo of me having Rayless in my hand, to where I could summon Rayless, use Renew X to pay 2, and then bring back Travel the Necromancer, use Travel the Necromancer to pay 3, bring back Vicious Wrath, use Vicious Wrath to discard a card, bring back someone else, etc. Actually, no, wait, no, that's not what had happened. Instead, what happened was Travel the Necromancer into a Lonely Spectre, draw a card, Vicious Wrath, make both players discard a card, Vicious Wrath does another thing. So all around, Rite of Awakening is a really nice card. It basically leads to combo plays. It is not a once per turn, so if you have the pay 2, you can keep using it, and you can just lead to a full board, and all around I like it a lot, so 4 of. And you can combo, like I said before, with Spirits Busting. So remember, always try to set Spirits Busting on the board. They will always come in handy. Then we have our damage trigger. So damage triggers are the standard 50 shield. You know, when you check them, either damage check or gift check, you deal damage to the opponent. And so, you know, just in case the rushing power of the song didn't beat them up, the damage trigger will finish off the drop for you. The draw triggers with 100 shield. Definitely very important, considering you do need hand cards to use a lot of these skills, and not to mention you need to draw cards to make sure, you know, you have a little bit defenses when you're going all out from the very get-go. And then we have our heal triggers, you know, because the draw triggers are not going to do enough to stop anything that is over 200 powers. So the heal triggers are there basically to send a card from your damage zone to the drop zone, which is really nice because not only can it do, you know, reduce your damage count so you don't die quicker, but it also makes it so that you can get cards that you need in your drop zone that hit the damage zone instead back into the drop zone, so you can loop them with skills like, for example, Vicious Wrath end up in your drop damage zone. Now you can heal it and put it into the drop zone. So yeah. And then the last quote-unquote card is not something new, but instead our SP version of Traveling Necromancer. So, little lore behind this boy that the artist of this card will greatly disagree with, but this spirit is known as Dixel. Why is it called Dixel? I don't know. I just wanted to call it Dixel. Maybe it's because that same day I had heard of a character called Dixel in a show I was watching, and I was like, oh, Dixel's a funny name, and I just chose to name this thing Dixel back in its original art, and I guess that name stayed. So, yeah, this is the SP. This is what it looks like. Say hi to Dixel. Hi, Dixel. Yep, and that's pretty much it. And this is the overview of the song, so you can see what it looks like. So all around, I hope you guys enjoyed. Here's our trigger lineup, by the way. We have our 5 heals, 3 damages, 2 draws, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, this song is really fun to me. It's nice. Yes, if you play this thing the way it's supposed to, you're basically going down to 2 hand cards at all times, which is not something a lot of people are comfortable with, but in exchange, you're getting out a lot of multi-attack and response. Well, not multi-attack, sorry. You're getting out very fast board development, and you're getting a lot of power out of it if you have Spirits Blessing on your board. So all around, just take into consideration that this is definitely the most rush song of all of Thera. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to check us out. Bye!